Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gina Marie Agdarian. I am the author of The Letters in the Old House, available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle. I will have a link to purchase the book in the description below. So today is another episode of Book Talk where I talk about a book I recently read, what I enjoyed, what I didn't enjoy, to ultimately help you determine if you would like to read this book. So today I am talking about Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Now, for the sake of this video, I'm just going to call this Triple T because saying this a bunch of times is just going to be really annoying. So this book was all over Instagram and all over Goodreads of, suggestions and people saying how much they loved it, and it gets a really high rating on Goodreads, which of course means absolutely nothing. But I finally decided to dive into it. It's not a book I would normally read or choose for myself, but I decided to give it a go. This was such a great book in the best way possible because, to be quite honest, I really didn't have high expectations for the book, again, because it wasn't something that I would normally grab. But this book surprised me in such a great way that I ended up being so happy to read it. It is a bit of a longer book. It's about 400 pages-ish, so it is a bit longer than what I typically read, but it was totally worth it. Now, before I talk about this book, I just want to because it does kind of center around video games, but I just want to preface it by saying you don't necessarily have to be interested into video games or be a gamer to really enjoy this book. The most video game experience that I have is Super Mario Brothers and Mario Kart. I am by no means a gamer. And this does center a lot around video games, which I know some people find as kind of a turnoff, and that's totally fine, but I would not dismiss this just by looking at the jacket and saying, oh, I'm really not into video games, I don't want to read it. So definitely give it a chance. This book really centers around these two friends, Sam and Sadie, and they met each other when they were children in a very unique circumstance. They meet up again when they are young adults in college. They run into each other literally by the subway, and they start making video games together. They make a video game called Ichigo, and they explain kind of the significance on that, and really just goes through how their relationship develops, and their creative process. They bring in a partner named Marks, and Marks was my personal favorite character of this book, and when you read it, you'll probably understand why. And it more than talking about video games, it really just gives such a great understanding into the creative process for anything. So not just video games, but someone who is a writer, someone who's a painter, any type of artist or creative person. It really just dives into that so well. And I think that is the main reason why I love this book so much. It's beautifully written. Gabrielle Zevin did such a fantastic job with this book, and I was really, really impressed by it. But more than that, I just really felt connected to it because of, being a writer myself. Being able to really look into someone else's creative process, even though they're a bunch of fictional characters, seeing their successes, their failures, their heartbreaks, sadness, everything in between, and just life of a group of creative people. So if you are a creative person or you're interested in reading a book that centers around the creative process, reading something fictional that centers around the creative process, I would highly recommend reading this book. I do give it 5 out of 5 stars. It was one of those books where when I crawled into bed at night to read for a bit, I couldn't wait to read it. Like, I was thinking about it all day, which I've mentioned this here and on my social channels, but those are truly the best types of books, are the ones where you're thinking about it all day and you can't wait to get home and read it, or you can't wait to crawl into bed and continue to read it. So that's really what this book was for me. And again, do not be turned off or be scared away by the video game part of it. I promise you, it doesn't really matter. They could be, in this book, I feel they could have been doing or creating video games, or they could have been painters or sculptors, or it really wouldn't matter. The medium doesn't matter. What matters are the characters and the process and just each of their individual stories. So Triple T, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow. I highly recommend this book. Gabrielle Zevin did an amazing job. If you've read this book, let me know in the comments what you liked, what you didn't like, or if you plan to read the book after my review. And as always, guys, happy reading.